bought this Disney Adventure magazine in 1991. It was my first introduction to the Rocketeer. About a month later, I saw the movie in the theater, and I was hooked. So let's go on our own Disney adventure and check out the filming locations to the 1991 movie, The Rocketeer. I got my aviators. I got my Beeman's gum. Let's take off! We made it to Bigelow's hangar. Let's go inside Bigelow's hangar. They've turned the hangar into an aviation museum, the Santa Maria Museum of Flight. But I'm here for just one thing, the Rocketeer. Let's check out some key scenes. These are the hangar doors that open at the very start of the movie. The mobster guy who stole the rocket pack drives right through these doors and stops about right here. This is the general area where Cliff finds the rocket pack hidden away in the biplane.
Ow! What? What's the matter? I don't know. There's something under the seat.
This is the original roof and beams. You can actually line up imperfections in the wood. For instance, when the rocket pack first shoots up, notice this imperfection in the wood, this stain. That stain is still there to this day. It's a little bit harder to see in this lighting. The rocket pack bounces off the ceiling, over these rafters, hits the back wall, then comes out towards what is now the front door. Now back in 1990, there was not a door here, there was some kind of office facade. Back in 1990, when they were out here filming The Rocketeer, this hangar was not in this exact location. It was way out there, across the airport. That's where they filmed the movie. These hangars in the background is what I believe the area of where we're at today. Then, when they were done, Disney gave the city of Santa Maria the prop hangar, which the airport then moved all the way over here. Now to bring it up to code, they had to change a few things. In the movie, the tower and all these stairs are not up front, they're more pushed back. Yes, as you can see, to bring it up to code and make it a working building, they had to change a few things around. I think it's so cool that Santa Maria kept the logo and they kept the building intact as much as they could. That's so awesome of them. Back inside, they have a nice display of Rocketeer memorabilia. This isn't screen used, but it's pretty cool. Wow, it's so cool looking at this poster knowing we're inside the building on the poster.
Got two of those.
Cool, thank you.
Hold on a minute.
Glad to see that these nails are still in the same spot. I love looking for weird things 30 years later. Okay, no more goofing around. We have so much to do and so little time. Also, the guys that work here told me something very interesting, which is located in just one town over. There it is. Wow, we made it. Do you guys recognize what this is? This is the other hangar at Chaplin Field that the GB crashes right in front of. I had no idea this even existed. I just spoke with the owner and she said that all 3 hangars were left in Santa Maria by Disney, and that the airport gave her and her husband this hangar for free. All it cost them was the expense to haul it from the airport all the way to their home. It's been remodeled a bit. Over time they had to change the siding, they had to give it a new roof, and they added these garage doors. But these fiberglass bricks are the same ones you see in the movie. Let's go inside. She's gonna show me some items that were found 30 years ago after Disney left.
Supposedly these were picked up out there. Something made out of fiberglass.
Cool.
I don't know what part that would have been.
This could have been, because they filmed another scene out there. I'm not sure if you've seen the movie lately, but the scene where the Nazis are testing the rocket pack, it's all black and white. They filmed that at the airport also. She also had a pair of gloves that had burn scars on them, so maybe these were stunt gloves. Also, she had a couple of pieces of film strip. There were no images on it, but just knowing that this film was in the canisters used to make the movie is so cool. The owner said that originally the hangar had painted on it Hangar 1, so we know for sure that it was the hangar right behind Bigelow's hangar. So with a little editing magic, we can bring Hangar 1 and Bigelow's hangar back together on screen for the first time in over 30 years. This is the mountain range that the Rocketeer flies over, 122 miles away from where we left off in Santa Maria. Talk about a first flight. Where the woman was hanging her laundry was somewhere in this area, and the Rocketeer is flying right towards this rock. Notice the very flat surface of the rock right here. And here it is today. And this is the valley that the Rocketeer flies through. Let's get up in the air above the trees for a different view. Sadly, this whole valley will not be known for the Rocketeer. It's gotta be remembered because of a tragedy that happened here recently that's gotten a lot of press coverage. Actress Naya Rivera of Glee, she died just a couple of miles down the road at Lake Piru. But I don't want to bring you down. Let's get back up in the air and find out where the Rocketeer landed on his maiden voyage. In order to find the body of water that the Rocketeer flies into, I had to get in touch with somebody who worked on the film. It's hard to tell water apart, and he told me that it was a body of water on Newhall land in Farming, which they accessed behind Magic Mountain. And there's Magic Mountain right there. If only I had a rocket pack, I could fly over Newhall land and see if we could find this body of water, which is the Santa Clara River. But maybe we do have a rocket. Did I buy a drone just for this one shot? Yes. Yes, I did. just as I suspected, it's dry. Very dry. There's been a lot of drought in the past few years. And also, that's not fog or smog in the air, that is smoke. There have been a lot of wildfires around here lately, and yes, my eyes are burning. During wet years, the Santa Clara River can get really full, as seen in the Rocketeer. And we'll talk about the Santa Clara River later on in this video. Okay, confession time. That little shot actually cost me 2 drones. The first one I had, I crashed into a tree as I was practicing. But hey, the Rocketeer crashed on his first flight also. And my mom felt so bad for me that she bought me a new drone to get my shot. I mean, how cool is that? If you think that's pretty cool, please give this video a like and tell my mom that you think that's pretty awesome that she bought me a second drone. Alright, let's go on to our next location, which is the Bulldog Cafe, or at least as close as we can get to where it was. Let's go. I can't get anybody on the intercom. Looks like we're not going in no matter what we try. Way at the end of this single-lane white bridge, and to the left, is where the Bulldog resided. You can even see the single-lane white bridge near the end of the movie, if you look closely. Let me give you an aerial view via Google Maps. Here's where I am today, stuck behind this locked gate. Here's the long white bridge, and just to the left, after the bridge, is where the Bulldog would have resided. Now these two structures right here are still there and visible at the end of the movie. So how did I find this place? Well, after asking numerous people and lots of Piru locals, I was able to get in touch with somebody who lived on property during the filming of The Rocketeer. And the person I got in contact with lived in the house seen at the end of the movie. She would watch them filming the movie from her window. And she shared 3 photos with all of us. Here's a picture of her siblings standing right outside the Bulldog. And here she is standing at the entrance of the Bulldog Cafe.
Get this, fellas.
And here she is inside the Bulldog behind Millie's counter. I always thought all the scenes inside the Bulldog were filmed on a soundstage, but they filmed quite a bit of the movie inside the Bulldog. Even some stunt scenes. Thank you so much, Lorena, for sharing these amazing pictures and memories with all of us. So what happened to the Bulldog Cafe after filming wrapped? Well, the 24-foot tall structure was disassembled and shipped all the way to Disney's MGM Studios in Florida. This Bulldog went cross-country, and it was placed on the MGM Backlot Tour from May or June of 1991 until 1997. Here's a park map from 1996. You can see the Bulldog right there at the end of Residential Street. But by 1997, the Bulldog is gone. So what happened to it after 1997? Well, that's kind of anybody's guess. I read online that it had fallen into disrepair. The hot, humid Florida summers may have been too much for it. It was probably demolished. Or maybe it's sitting in a Disney warehouse somewhere. Hopefully the latter. We made it to the 1924 Frank Lloyd Wright designed home, the Ennis House. It was a little confusing getting up here. I took a couple of wrong turns. I guess 2 wrongs can make a right. A Frank Lloyd Wright. This home is an example of what they call Mayan revival architecture. This home was the inspiration for Neville Sinclair's home.
I'm sorry about you boys, Eddie.
The filmmakers came up to the Ennis House and took pictures and cast molds of the concrete blocks. Then, they went back to the Disney studios and recreated their version of the Innis House in great detail on a soundstage. They even recreated the stained glass. Compared to real pictures of the interior of the Innis House, Neville Sinclair's version is a little bit more ominous. It's all the interiors of Neville Sinclair's home, and when Jenny wakes up later on in the film, basically in the labyrinth again, all that was filmed on a soundstage. But I also read online that they filmed a scene right outside the gate here, but it was cut from the film. So maybe someday we'll see that as an extra feature. The Innis House has been featured in a number of movies over the years, but its first big claim to fame was in the 1959 B-movie, The House on Haunted Hill. One of the most impressive things about this home is the big wall that surrounds it. I got a feeling if Frank Lloyd Wright was still alive, he'd be a big Trump supporter.
We're going to build a wall.
Welcome to Jenny Blake's Chaperone Dormitory, the Hollywood Stage Club. You can see a picture of the prop sign in this one scene. That's what it's called in The Rocketeer, but in real life, this is the Mary Andrews Clark Residences. It was built by former senator and former copper magnate William A. Clark as a perpetual memorial to his mother. I wonder if I should build one of these for my mom for buying me that drone. This building was dedicated in February 1913 by William A. Clark as not only a shrine to his mother, but a place where thousands of other young girls could come and worship their mothers. I'm not kidding, that's what it says on Wikipedia. Anywho, this place was operated by the YMCA from 1913 to 1987. It was a home for working women, and for $5.05 a week, they got room and board and 2 meals a day. But on Friday nights, this place would be full of activity, and that's when the young men would come to pick up their girlfriends and take them on a date. And that's what we see in this scene from The Rocketeer. In the movie, Cliff Secord walks right up these steps to go pick up Jenny for their date. And as he's walking up those steps, he looks up towards those windows right there, where Jenny's roommate sees him and waves. It's locked. I can't get in. If it was open, I'd go up there.
Evening, Miss Pye.
You know my rules. No gentlemen after 6 p.m.
I'm no gentleman.
So after going up the stairs, Cliff takes a left, then walks back underneath the arches to what I believe is this door right here, where he meets the dormitory chaperone, Mrs. Pye.
Don't forget the curfew. I lock up at 11 sharp.
Yes, Warden.
After picking up Jenny and Cliff walk down the first flight of steps, then they take a left. And as they're walking, Jenny tells Cliff that she has a line in the new Neville Sinclair movie, and they stop right in front of this tree, which is now fully grown. And Jenny delivers the line she has in the new movie.
Let's hear it.
Oh, my prince, would that you drink of my lips as deeply.
Yes, young Jennifer Connelly, I would drink of your lips as deeply. What kind of question is that?
And then he kisses you.
Then they walk down these steps right here.
Hey, we better scram if we're gonna catch this Cagney.
The tree they walked past has now been removed. So Jenny and Cliff get inside Peebee's truck and head off to the movies. But what theater did they use to film that scene in? Let's go find out.
This I gotta see.
We made it to Pasadena. This is the historic Rialto Theater. This is the theater that Cliff and Jenny go see the new Neville Sinclair movie at. Now in the Rocketeer, you never see the outside of the theater, you only see the inside. So here's some pictures that I got on the internet that we can match up. So as Jenny and Cliff are making their way through the theater, notice the designs and the ornamentation on the columns. Also look at the designs at the front of the stage and on the curtains. Yes, without a doubt, we are at the correct theater. It's closed. This place has actually been closed since 2007, and besides the occasional movie shoot, has remained vacant until recently when Mosaic.org signed a 14-year lease to hold their church services here. The interiors of this theater were also used in the video Thriller. Or some of you might know it better as the Michael Jackson meme, "I'm just here for the comments." And speaking of comments, if you're enjoying this video, please leave a comment and a like, that would really help out. This is also the theater that Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling go to in La La Land, so we have a La La Land connection to the Rocketeer. This theater was built in 1925, so it fits in with the Rocketeer timeline, which is supposed to be Los Angeles 1938. This is the famous Walt Disney Studios. As you can see, the columns of the building are being held up by the Seven Dwarfs. And that's because it was the success of the 1937 film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which made it possible for Walt Disney to move to a bigger studio over here in Burbank. Besides all the classic Disney animation made here, there were also other live-action films produced here and filmed here, like Mary Poppins. But we're here to talk about another live-action Disney classic, The Rocketeer. Stage 2 is where they created the sets for Neville Sinclair's home, the Hollywood studio sets, and the very ornate set of the South Seas Club was filmed and constructed right here. All the columns, the Art Deco design, and that giant clam with none other than Meloria Hardin. Yes, Jan from The Office comes out to the tune Begin to Begin. That's what she's saying. But what about the South Seas Club exterior? For that, we're gonna have to go to another studio. We made it to Warner Brothers Studios. Yes, we're at Warner Brothers. I'm wearing a mask, and a lot of people hate Ellen DeGeneres right now. That's what part of 2020 we're in. And of course, because of coronavirus, this place is closed to the public right now. But even though we can't go inside physically, I'll take you inside virtually and show you the building they used for the South Seas Club. The exterior of the South Seas Club and all those scenes just felt like a backlot to me, so I decided to look at Warner Brothers Studios. Thankfully, you can actually kind of street view their backlot. At first I thought it was this building, just because it kind of just looks similar, but trust me, this is not it. But I went down the street, all the way down here to this building. This one right here is the exterior of the South Seas Club. It may not look like it at first glance, but I used the surrounding buildings to help me zero in on this location. Notice the square designs on the building behind Lothar, and here they are today. When Jenny runs out of the South Seas Club to catch a cab, notice the columns behind her. Those are the columns of a building on New York Street. When Jenny runs back to the South Seas Club, look at the building behind her. It has a bit of an arched awning to it. And here it is today with the same arch and the same designs. And here's where Jenny looked through the window. Now remember, these buildings are facades, so they dress them according to whatever movie is being made. And I'm sure they added a circular window here to give it a nautical theme as the South Seas Club. Now the only time we see the other side of the building is when Cliff is walking in. But we can match up a couple things there too. Look at all these glass windows and this archway behind the glass windows. If we go along the other side of the building and spin around, there's the glass windows and there's the big arch behind the glass. You even see the South Seas facade in the movie La La Land, giving us our second La La Land connection to the Rocketeer. That's 2 of 3 if you're playing along at home. Then I got to thinking, maybe they filmed a scene where the Rocketeer lands also at Warner Brothers. If they did, I would have to find a building that has these kind of zigzaggy bricks in it. Then I found this building. It has a very chunky bottom half, those very same zigzaggy style of bricks, and windows and a door that match up in the right areas. So if we go around the back, there should be that corrugated sheet metal that the Rocketeer flies right down by. There's a big tree here now, but if we look up above the tree, we can still see some of that corrugated sheet metal still there. Next up is Peavy's house. Now my contact who worked on the Rocketeer told me that the house was in a community of bungalows that were adjacent to the parking lot of the Hollywood Bowl. But not too long after filming, the bungalows were demolished. There's the Hollywood Bowl, there's the parking lot, and here's where the bungalows would have been. And just like he said, this cottage community was demolished in the mid-90s, not too long after the Rocketeer was filmed. And in its place was built this park, which is closed right now, I think because of coronavirus. But after doing a little bit of digging, I found out that of the 14 cottages, only 7 of them were demolished. Yes, I think Peavy's house is still there. I can't quite get back there on Google Maps, but I can see a piece of a window and a piece of a house that looks like Peavy's house. I'm gonna try and get back there and let's see if we can find Peavy's house. Darn it, the gate is closed. There's a padlock. On Google Maps, the gate is wide open. I mean seriously, from 2009 to 2019 on Google Maps, this gate is always open. What a disappointment. Darn you, coronavirus. We're locked out of this park, and we're locked out of access to Peavy's house. So why do I think Peavy's house is still there and wasn't demolished? Well, I was searching the internet for pictures that people have taken from Camrose Park, and I came across this picture right here. It's a similar color to Peavy's house, but if you zoom in closer, look at the side windows. They have the exact same design as the windows on Peavy's house. Also, the chimney is in the right spot. And on the side roof of Peavy's house, there's some kind of extra level or skylight or something. Well, this house has a very similar roof. Unfortunately, this big hedge is blocking our view of the rest of the house, but I'm like 90% sure this is Peavy's house. And while editing this, I've found out why it's closed. These bungalows are no longer homes. They're the offices of the Los Angeles Philharmonic. So after coronavirus is over, and things start to go back to normal, I'm gonna come back here and find out for sure if this is Peebee's house. So you might wanna hit subscribe for that future video. Okay, we're gonna go on a little 20-mile detour because there's something I wanna show you guys that's only gonna be here for a limited time before we check out our last 2 locations. No, I'm not here to show you the carpet bag or the blocks from Mary Poppins. We're not here to see Captain Rex from Star Tours. I'm not here to show you Warren Beatty's outfit from Dick Tracy. We're not here to look at the puppets from What About Bob, although that's very cool. You see, the Bowers Museum is hosting a special exhibit called Inside the Walt Disney Archives, and we're here for one thing only, the Rocketeer.
You're leaking like a sieve here. You must have picked up a ricochet.
This is so cool to see a screen-used Rocketeer outfit. I blew through this whole exhibit in about 20 minutes, and I didn't even realize that I missed a Rocketeer model right above my head. They have a model of Cliff's GB. I guess I didn't look up. I feel like such an idiot.
You chowderhead?
Yeah, I feel like a chowderhead. Okay, that was totally worth the $25 for that exhibit. I wish I had more time to really look around at all the other stuff there. But I just wanted to come see a real-life Rocketeer prop, a real-life Rocketeer costume and helmet, and the jetpack. That was so cool. All right, let's keep going. We made it to the Griffith Observatory. This is where the climax of the Rocketeer takes place. Let's look at a few key scenes. I knew I should have bought a wide-angle lens.
Boss! Here he comes!
This is where the Rocketeer is seen flying through the night sky. And he lands right over there. You'll have to imagine your own Zeppelin flying overhead. All these designs remind me of Neville Sinclair's house. During the big shootout, the Rocketeer ignites his rocket and flies off this way and over this cliff where the James Dean statue is now. Cliff Secord literally went over a cliff. I found an old Los Angeles Times article from November 11th, 1990 talking about the filming of that very scene and how 2 stuntmen were seriously injured, one of them critically. I'll leave a link to the article in the description if you want to read more about it. The observatory will always be remembered for James Dean and his classic film, Rebel Without a Cause. And of course, this is where they filmed some scenes from La La Land, making this our 3rd and final La La Land to Rocketeer connection. I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, back to the Rocketeer. Unfortunately, because of coronavirus, this part is now off limits for the time being. But this is where Neville Sinclair takes Jenny up these steps. The Rocketeer chases them in hot pursuit, and then he shoots off from the very top of the dome.
The Rocketeer!
And after Neville Sinclair gets the rocket pack, he flies out towards the Hollywood sign, at that time called the Hollywood Land sign. And the rocket explodes, and he crashes right into the part that says land. And that's why it says Hollywood. True story. But after the Zeppelin takes off, they filmed a very explosive scene way back over in Piru. So let's go back to Piru for a little pyrotechnic action. And we're back, off Highway 126. Piru is that way. Valencia and Magic Mountain are just around the corner here. And this is the Indian Dunes filming location. It's called that because in the 70s and 80s, so many action TV shows and movies were filmed here. Shows like Chips, Knight Rider, The Greatest American Hero, The Dukes of Hazzard, Airwolf, they all shot episodes out here. Here's a still frame from The Dukes of Hazzard. There used to be a working airstrip right here. And for one episode of The Dukes of Hazzard, they turned that airstrip into Hazard County Airport. But sadly, the dunes are best known for the tragedy that occurred here on July 23rd, 1982. That's when actor Vic Morrow and 2 small children were killed during the making of Twilight Zone the movie. It's a bit hard to see with all this fencing in the way, but the tragedy in 1982 occurred pretty much right directly between these pylons all the way back there by the hills. That's where they built the sets for the Twilight Zone, and that's where Vic Morrow and the 2 small girls were wading through the Santa Clara River, the same river that the Rocketeer crashes into, when the helicopter crashed, killing all 3 actors. But I don't want to bring you guys down. Most of the memories out here are really great, like this scene from V, the miniseries, when the mothership flies right over the Santa Clara River. By the early 90s, action TV shows had fallen out of favor, so the owners of the Indian Dunes property decided to turn it back into farmland. Now the last show to film out here was China Beach, and the last movie? The Rocketeer. Yes, this is where they filmed the large Zeppelin scene. They built a 65-foot section piece of the Zeppelin, which they rigged with pyrotechnics. Now my contact who worked on the Rocketeer told me that the only stipulation that Indian Dunes gave them was that during the daytime they had to cover this flag. They didn't want the locals or people who drive down the highway to see that. And then at night for the filming, they would take the cover off, get the cameras rolling, get the pyro going, the pyrotechnics. They also blew up a miniature Zeppelin model or 2 at Hamilton Air Force Base in Northern California for this scene.
Don't ever fly her without this.
And we're back! Thank you so much for tuning in on this Rocketeer adventure. It was a lot of fun to research and put together. Big thanks to everybody from Piru, Santa Maria, Nipomo, Los Angeles. And until we take flight next time, I'm Stanley Foss, and I'll see you in the future. Goodbye!